recovering from a cold, so I'll fill in best I can. My name is Erica Roulier, and I'm a member of the board for the History Museum. I want to thank you all for being here, showing up to hear our youth speakers tonight. I definitely want to thank our speakers. We have two here live in person. We have Gillian and we have Bri, and I'm really grateful to those of you to come in tonight to speak to this crowd. Our two other speakers are very busy, and so Rowan McKenna, who was one of our original organizers, is also an athlete, and she has a lacrosse game tonight, and she couldn't make it. Our fourth speaker, Emiliano, thought he could make it in person, but had a last-minute conflict. So both of them will be representing by videos that they've recorded ahead, so I think you'll enjoy their videos. I also would like to thank our generous series sponsor, Ron Cohen and Christy Smith. They're good friends of the History Museum. And I also want to thank my fellow board member, Peggy Lawler, who this is all kind of her brainchild. She came up with the idea for a youth speaker series, so we're very grateful to you, Peggy, for thinking this up. I want to thank Quinn Peterson, who's doing the videography tonight. So Quinn and his colleague Annalise Ranella at Hood River Valley High School agreed to record all three of our speaker events and create videos so that we can share it with people after the fact, or people who couldn't be here in person. We have one more event in our series. This is the second of three, and our last Gorge Youth Speaks event is on May 13th, which is also a Wednesday night, not here, but at the Ruins. So it's a larger venue, and I hope you can join us there as well, because it'll be a special event. It will be members of the Hood River Valley High School speech and debate team, of which Gillian is also a member, and she and some of her colleagues will be presenting their speech and debate pieces. And it will be a fundraiser for their team as well. We're going to split the proceeds between speech and debate and the museum to help support them going to the nationals competition in June. There is still space if you know of any other young people who would like to speak. We still have room at that event, so please spread the word, and they can get in touch with me or just call the museum and let us know that they're interested.
What's your cutoff for young?
Oh, that's a good question. So far, our oldest speakers are 25. So I would say in your 20s or very young at heart, but I'm sorry, you might be too old. Well, the youngest, I think, Gillian tonight is doing is at 17, but there's no limit. Could be middle school. Yeah, absolutely. We're wide open. And when we first started talking about the series, it was, Peg's vision was to have young people talk about what are your hopes and visions for the future? What kind of Gorge community do you want to see, or at a larger level, the national level? And Peg has some very specific questions in her mind, how she is curious how you think about certain things like sustainable farming and the environment specifically. But it became clear that we should let the young people decide what they want to talk about. And so it's just kind of evolved. So it's very open-ended, but we'd love to continue this and do it again next year and hopefully grow it, and maybe the word will spread and then more young people will want to speak and share their thoughts. A quick plug for museum membership. If you're not already a museum member, please consider joining us, because we really do need the support of our whole community. And thank you to those of you here who are already members. You might not realize it, but the lowest level membership is only $25 a year for students and seniors, so it's very affordable. If you wanted to be a member at the supporter level, it's $100, but it's an excellent perk because you get access to that's called NARM, N-A-R-M, North American Reciprocal Museum Association. So you get free entrance to museums, galleries, zoos across the US and North America. So that's kind of a no-brainer. If you're going to travel and go to other museums, please do get that $100 level supporter membership. There's also a list at the back or by the front door if you want to get on our mailing list. We only send out an email maybe once a month, but if you just want to hear about what's coming up at the museum, that's the best way to get on our email list. One last plug, and that is for our annual fundraiser coming up May 21st. That's a Thursday night, and it's at the Ruins as well. We are having a special event. Our speaker and MC is Archer Mayo. How many of you have heard of Archer Mayo and what he's been up to lately? He's going to be speaking about finding the Martin family car in the old lock at Cascade Locks. And it's back in the news now. In fact, it was in the New York Times because they recently just got the DNA evidence back confirming that the remains that he found in that car belong to the Martin family. So the case is closed. So he's going to be talking about that process, but also put it in context of history and community. So he's just a really excellent speaker, and we're hoping to sell out that event. So think about getting tickets soon. You're welcome to buy them here tonight, or you can go on our website to buy them. They're $40 in advance for $45 at the door, so please do join us. In addition to Archer's speech, there will be a raffle. The Lightwell Hotel is donating a night stay and a food and beverage credit, so that'll be a really good prize. We're going to be having music by a string duo that's going to be beautiful, and Boda's Kitchen is providing desserts and snacks, so we hope you'll come. And our excellent volunteer and downtown history tour guide, Lorraine Crosstrom, is creating a bingo, kind of an icebreaker fun event. So when you first arrive on May 21st, it's kind of a way to meet other people in the crowd, and it's super fun. So thank you for pointing that out. Okay, I guess that's it. Reminder to silence your cell phone, and I think we'll start off with Gillian Reed as our first speaker. And yeah, anything else? I think we're good. Thank you all.
Hey guys, can everyone hear me? Yes. Perfect. Okay. When you guys think about the climate, do you think about fires, pollution, melting ice caps, things that you don't think affect you now? Or are you thinking about how this is an innate part of our life in the Gorge? My name is Gillian Reed. I'm a local student here, and I've grown up here my entire life. And I've seen how important our environment is and the need that we have to protect it. So today, I want to talk about what's happening and what we're doing to solve it. Can we switch the slide? Thank you. Okay, this is what the Gorge looked like just 100 years ago. You can see some similarities and you can see some differences in how it looks today. More so than just urban development, the landscape has changed as well, in both good ways and bad ways. Okay. This isn't just affecting the landscape, it's also affecting ourselves at a cellular level. It's about the water, our lungs, our brains, and our lives. More than just heat, climate change is affecting our air and our water systems. Air pollution can contribute to cardiovascular diseases, asthma, strokes, lung cancer, and premature deaths. At the same time, changes in water systems through flooding, droughts, and warming waters can increase harmful algae blooms and reduce water quality, creating additional risks for human health. The list could go on forever, but the climate change can also affect us neurologically. Exposure to extreme heat, air pollution, and environmental stress has been linked to headaches, dizziness, cognitive strain, and long-term impacts on brain health. This includes things like Alzheimer's, which have been linked to climate change as well. It's affecting us more than just at a physical level. It's reaching into how we think, how we feel, and how we function. It's not just changing the environment around us, but it's changing our bodies and our minds. This also isn't just something happening elsewhere. While the statistics may be from the United States as a whole, it's happening right here in the Columbia River as well. In Oregon, we've seen a 237% increase in wildfire size over the last 20 years. The Eagle Creek fire from 2017 was 10 times greater than any fire previously seen. Even in my lifetime, we've seen an increase going from, oh, there's a fire this summer, to what's the fire of the year? And all of us downloading apps on our phones to track it and see exactly where every single fire is and how much it's spread and how much contained it is. And we've seen an increase in the frequency of these large wildfires of 1,000% since the 1970s. Studies have shown that fires have grown in intensity, increasing burn acreage by 4,979% in recent decades. These fires, they're not just staying small, they're exploding and often doing so overnight. Last summer with the Gorge Youth fire, I went to work on the day it started. At the beginning of my shift, the fire was tiny, barely even a thing. However, over the course of 5 hours working as a host, it grew to a couple thousand acres and then doubled again overnight. Again in my life, the prevalence of water issues have risen. From swimming in the Columbia as a kid whenever I wanted, to now, I ask about E. coli outbreaks before I go in. And it's clear a lot of this has changed. Sorry, I'm still on the other side. Okay. The algae spot by Wells Island has grown every single year, in a representation of the 70% increase in algae bloom outbreaks across the state of Oregon. Last summer alone, 2 family dogs died from this because they were more likely to drink out of the Columbia. And if we continue down the path that we're on right now, more and more are just going to follow the same fate. This is also going to affect our local wildlife, which is something that we need to protect. We need to protect specifically our salmon. Due to the increase in water temperature, the Columbia is no longer the ideal habitat for them. This is affecting local food systems and communities who rely on fish from the Columbia, since some species now carry a higher level of contaminants and are less safe to consume regularly, and can provide as carcinogens for those groups. As for ecosystems, we see the effects of climate change across all of the major gorge activities, from the slopes to the river. The summers have gotten hotter and drier, with increasing temperatures and heat waves, having hit record high temperatures of 111 degrees. When we had that record heat wave, I remember having my summer camp moved from like 10 a.m. to 8 so that we would stay out of the heat. And my brothers and I, instead of going home and playing outside like normal, sat in our cold basement eating popsicles because that was the only thing that we could do. The winters are also turning out the same way, warmer than normal. This last year, we got significantly less snow, which causes the mountain to both open late and close early. And for our snowpack, this means that we have significantly less, so we might get less water melt in the same way. I, along with so many others, hardly got to go up because the conditions were so bad, when normally covered rocks were exposed throughout the entire season. And what's unfortunate is that this is only predicted to remain the same and worsen with climate change. Okay, now you go to the next slide. Right now, one of the major discussions around water use in the gorge is involving large technology infrastructure, like Google, which is happening in the Dalles. Right now, Google uses about 1/3 of the Dalles water intake. The facilities that they have require significant amounts of water to cool their system, which places the demand on local water resources. At the same time of just using water, there are benefiting communities in the Dalles. Companies are bringing economic opportunities, including jobs and investment in local infrastructure, which can support the community in important ways. However, there are also environmental concerns. Increased water use and heated discard can contribute to stress on the Columbia River ecosystem, affecting water temperature, fish habitats, and overall water quality. This creates a larger question for the region. How do we balance economic development with the long-term health of the environment we depend on? This isn't a simple yes or no issue. It's not, we can't say no immediately to Google needing more of our water, and we can't say yes immediately too. Instead, we need to find a solution that can support both the community needs and the environmental stability. Essentially, we don't want to give Google access to more water and hurt the ecosystems of the Mount Hood Forest even more, but we do need something to cool their servers because it is something that we depend on. I mean, this is a Google Slides presentation in front of you right now. I did use it. So Google is important, and we do need something to keep their systems cool. But we also don't want to just be putting that heated water back. Okay, now slide. This is what the gorge looks like now. Which is now quite different from what it looked like 100 years ago. And if we want it to stay this way, to be the place that we recognize and know and love, we need to find solutions to these problems. As Jane Goodall said, you cannot get through the single day without having an impact on those around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of a difference you want to make. We need to take her advice and make a difference. Nobody else is going to fight for us, for our home, so we have to do it ourselves. And if it's not for ourselves, we need to do it for all of the future generations that are going to come. Because if we don't, this is what Google predicts the gorge could look like in 100 years, which is not some place that we recognize and not somewhere that any of us should want to live. I mean, it kind of looks like an entire fire destroyed the region, which is possible in this landscape. Okay. Now, what is going well? The good news is renewables are continuing to get better. Energy sources like solar and wind keep getting more and more efficient and cost-effective. Europe has also recently developed a way to generate electricity based on the waves in the Atlantic, which is entirely renewable and even sourced from sustainable and recycled materials. Essentially, how it works is by sitting on the ocean and collecting the kinetic and potential energy from the waves to later generate electricity with. This new source has the potential to meet up to 20% of the world's energy demands. If you want to go to the next slide, I do have a photo. It's in the top from your view left corner. So essentially it sits and gets to ride the waves, much like if you were surfing, but instead of providing fun, it's providing electricity. More so than just that, wind technology is also improving, with new rooftop bladeless designs that can produce up to 50% more energy than solar panels. Now it's becoming easier than ever to switch to these renewable sources, and outside of ways to just produce electricity renewably, other technologies are expanding too. Green concrete, which is below that thing, is up and coming. Essentially, it's fake concrete because there's no actual concrete in it, but it's instead made from industrial byproducts. This reduces the footprint of these companies, and it allows for carbon mineralization, which essentially means that it's going to trap carbon molecules inside of the concrete rather than leaving them trapped in the atmosphere, further raising global temperatures. There's also transparent wood, which is essentially a sustainable alternative to glass because it's more efficient with thermoregulation. What this means is that it can keep heat inside longer, keep cool air inside longer, and all of a sudden, it takes less energy and less money to heat and cool your entire houses because it becomes more efficient. Countries in the European Union are concerned, and they're trying to promote a lot of these solutions, especially with their carbon tax sellers outside of the EU for the amount of carbon used in the creation of any products being sold. Even more, people like me are concerned and looking to find and make better solutions for our future. None of these things were around even 5 years ago when I was looking at any of this. All of these things are here today, and a lot of them are new. When I was talking to one of my speech and debate coaches before I was coming here, they were asking me about it. They were like, wait, there's wave electricity? And I was like, yeah, there's all of these really cool new things. We no longer just have solar and wind with their drawbacks too. We now have all of these other really cool, innovative ways that we can make our lives easier and more sustainable. And if we follow this, this is what the gorge could look like in 100 years, which is a lot better than the last one. Obviously, you can't predict what it's going to look like, and there are some drawbacks to this one. I mean, the AI generator did quite literally put solar panels blocking wildlife, which I also wouldn't advocate for. But overall, what we are seeing is a lot greener of a landscape and people being able to use the Columbia, which is what we all love to do, which is a better environment than before when it was kind of a dead, mostly dried out desert. Okay. Our future is something that we're shaping right now. If you remember nothing else from tonight, I want you to remember this. Climate change is here, and right now we are doing something about it. We're making improvements in how we fight it. Our world will always change, but the direction of that change is still up to us. We can continue using fossil fuels, or we can keep innovating and finding more eco-friendly and really cool solutions. In 100 years, we don't know what the Gorge will look like. It may look like Google Gemini's bad idea, but it could look like their good one too. In my opinion, I hope it looks like neither. I hope that it's filled with all the ideas, innovations, and solutions we've come up for making the Gorge good for everyone, both the people and the environment. Thank you.
Gillian said she might answer questions as long as it don't make it feel like school. But does anyone have a question for Gillian?
I have a question. First of all, amazing talk. Thank you so much for making an effort to educate us all. I'm just wondering, in your research, for example, some locations, like really low-lying islands and oceans, are very susceptible to climate change. Some places are a lot less susceptible, depending on where they are. Do you have any idea, like where we are in the Gorge? Are we likely to be more impacted in other locations or less? Or?
I mean, overall, like every area is going to be susceptible by some degree. It kind of just depends on what. In the region that we're in right now, we're a lot more susceptible to things like wildfires, which is why I brought that example up a lot. But with the Columbia, we're also susceptible to more harmful algae blooms. Those are two ways that we're really going to be impacted. I don't see like hurricanes coming in here or the gorge becoming flooded from the ocean, but we are highly susceptible to both of these other things because we have forests and we're seeing a lot of deforestation as well. Any other questions?
It isn't a question, but I'd like to say thank you for being hopeful, because people only do good things if they think there's a good reason to do it because they have hope for a better outcome. So thank you for saying here's some things you can do and for just presenting this with a hopeful feeling about it.
Yeah. I didn't want to make it too much of a downer, but I did want to point out that this is affecting everyone and we do need to be hopeful and coming up with some of these really cool solutions. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gillian. I'm going to have to take a minute to switch to our next presentation. Sorry about that. I didn't mention at the beginning that we do have programs with bios of our speakers. So if you didn't get one, raise your hand. Maybe Marty can get you one. Because we have Gillian's and Bri's bios here, I didn't properly introduce Gillian, but as you gather, she's a junior in high school at HRBHS. She plays tennis, competes in speech and debate. She likes to volunteer, and she's passionate about learning, giving back, and speaking up about what matters most. So thank you, Gillian. We need more people like you in this world. We're going to switch the order a little bit, and Bri's going to be our next speaker. So Bri Rambeau is expecting a baby boy in May. Very exciting. She enjoys writing poetry, drawing and painting, as well as cooking and baking. She's an Alaska native. And Bri, maybe you can speak a little bit more about what your background is and your ancestry. But give me a minute to get Bri's talk up, but you're welcome to come on up and get settled. So thank you, Bri.
Hi.
We're good to go. Sorry about that, Bri.
So My name is Bri. I'm going to be talking about some ideas of Native American activities and education that we should bring into our community. So an activity that we can include is powwows. Powwows is a vital social and cultural gathering to celebrate, honor, and preserve Native American traditions through dancing, singing, and fellowship, and passing down to new generations while welcoming the public to share in the culture. This allows all the different tribes to come together and share each other's tribal traditions, art, and language. This also gives an opportunity for many Native, indigenous artists to share and express their art and creations. Powwows may bring different types of cultural food and give people the opportunity to try something new. An education opportunity to learn different traditions, art, language, dances, history, and songs, giving children and adults the opportunity to learn their tribal language, where they came from, their history, and their ancestors. The opportunity to learn how to make different types of art, which may include how to make moccasins, dream catchers, and how to bead and make jewelry. Have the chance for children to have fun and make friends while learning more about themselves and where they came from. Gives other members from other tribes to share and express their traditions and languages from other people as well. The ideas that I have that we can do to bring our children and teenagers together and have a chance to make friends and have fun are after-school programs. Lets them decompress from school and play around with their friends for a little bit longer while having fun and productive activities to do, such as coloring, painting, eating, work on team projects, maybe even include a high school credit recovery program. A gardening or cooking class or group to learn different ingredients and different tribal recipes and be able to taste them and learn how to plant and take care of plants. When I grew up in an environment where I did after-school program, and the organization is called NAYA, Native American Youth Associate, and it definitely helped me learn more about my background and where I came from and some of my language. And as she said, I'm expecting in May, or expecting to have a baby in May, and I would definitely like to be able to have my son have that opportunity as well, because there are some things that I don't know as well about my culture and my tribes. So it would definitely be nice to also learn about other people's history and where they came from as well. Another cultural activity that I would like to include is a sweat lodge. It's acting as a sacred, intense, and therapeutic ceremony for purifying the body, mind, and spirit. Promotes deep physical detoxification, muscle relaxing, stress relief, and enhanced mental clarity. Strengthens sense of connection to community and ancestry. A sweat lodge is a dome-shaped structure used for ceremonial steam baths designed for prayer, purification, and healing. You sit in a dark, heated enclosure representing the womb of Mother Earth, while water is poured over hot stones to create steam. Symbolizes as the navel of the universe or a place of rebirth. It's basically a lot like a sauna, just a lot more like spiritual or personal to yourself. As well as when I was younger, the organization that I was with, they had an opportunity for me to try it out. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to breathe in there because of all this steam, but definitely helps. You feel very, after you're all sweating, you shower and stuff, definitely helps you feel like refreshed and like lets everything go and all that stuff. And definitely a good time to let, if you're having a bad day, like during that day that you're having it, definitely helps to release all that tension and negative energy and stuff, and definitely calming to just, sit there in a dark room and let everything pour out of your pores and stuff like that. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bri. We really appreciate you sharing. I know you were nervous to come speak in front of the group, but was it easier than you thought? Well, you did great, and I just feel really grateful to you and to all of the youth speakers to share your story. Because I know it's not always an easy thing to come and stand in front of a room of strangers and share, but it's really meaningful, and it's good for us as a community to have more of that. Pat.
I didn't have a question, but I wanted to say to you, Bri, I think those are very good suggestions. I was lucky enough to work with Yupik in Yupik villages and go to Sweat Lodge, and have after school Indian, it was called Indian education, but it was in fact cultural education. And I think that's really important. And I thought it was as important to my kids who are not Native as it was to the kids whose culture we were preserving. So I think those are really good suggestions, and I'm going to think about how we can make that happen in our schools. So thank you. Thank you very much.
So our next speaker, who is not here, but she sent 2 videos, is Rowan McKenna. So she's a senior at Hood River Valley High School. And some of you may have already heard her speak or may be familiar with her poetry. Have any of you heard her poems before? Sharing with us? Yeah. On the program bio sheet, I included her Instagram to her poetry. So she's recorded a lot of her unique poems, her original poems, on various different topics. So if you like what you see here, you can find more on Instagram. Okay. So her first video, which is kind of an intro, the sound is not very loud. So maybe once it gets started, if you really have trouble hearing it, I was wondering if maybe I could use this microphone to increase the intensity. So we'll try that. Hang on a second here.
My name is Rowan McKenna, and I'm so sorry that I couldn't come and speak in person tonight. I have an important lacrosse game, otherwise I would totally be there. I thought a lot about what I want to say in this video, and it's hard to figure out how to describe both all the hope I hold for the future and all the grief I carry for what's currently happening in our nation. Growing up, I always looked up to activists like Gloria Steinem, MLK, Jane Goodall, Greta Thunberg, or Amanda Gorman. I never really thought that would be me because I didn't think that there was that much left to protest. And boy, was I wrong on that. Excuse me for getting a little political here, but really, that's where we are as a nation, and I think what's going on is beyond left or right. As Cory Booker said, it's right and wrong. This year we have seen some of the most blatant abuses of power in our nation's history, vicious attacks on human rights, total disregard for rule of law, and so much hate-mongering from the president. But I have also seen how our community comes together through all of this. Organizations like Hood River Latino Network, Siguan, or Fish Food Bank have rallied hardworking, caring volunteers, people who aren't getting paid in anything but the knowledge that they are helping their neighbors. And they have stood together in solidarity, rain or shine, and taken people to the doctor when they are too terrified to drive themselves because of ICE in our community, or found ways to distribute food to hundreds more hungry families when SNAP benefits were cut last fall. I personally have grown so much from my journey into activism. In November of 2024, I was a sea of anger and despair and feeling betrayed by the people in our country who elected him. So I started writing slam poetry to capture all the emotions I was feeling, and I rejoined speech and debate so that some random judge had to listen to me rant for 10 minutes. But through that, I found my voice and realized that it held power and that people really did want to listen. So I started meeting with many different local grassroots activists, and they helped me slowly piece together what's now called the Gorge Youth Movement. We are a high school club that has over 90 students on its Google Classroom, and we have done a lot this year. We've organized many different ways to engage and inspire students and adults both to take action. We've held voter education or political education meetings. We've held think tanks, had time to call our senators, distributed signs around town, fundraised. We went to Salem and lobbied our representatives for immigrant rights with the Oregon Worker Coalition. And it was so cool to see at the state level, because so much attention is given to the federal level, and the state level is really so important and often overlooked. Gillian and I, along with the leaders of the club Mecha, which is a club at the high school that works to empower the Mexican and Hispanic students, organized a walkout over ICE in our community, and over 300 kids came out that day to stand in solidarity and protest. And it was one of the most impactful moments of my life to watch all of the students flooding out the doors into that courtyard with the same message and hope and dream. And they were wearing the yellow Somos Inmigrantes ribbons and buttons and stickers that we've been distributing all week long. And they wrote messages with chalk of love and hope and, grief for everything that's been happening. And it was beautiful. And all of the No Kings protests, I've seen that same community building as people come together and share in this. So I could go into all of the reasons why our community and students shouldn't have to be working to protect their own people from the federal government, and why we shouldn't have to be in this situation. But I want my message tonight to be about hope and looking forwards. As we take to the streets to protest all the things that we won't accept, as I'm sure there'll be many more, this is a marathon, not a sprint. I think we need to hold in our heart a vision that we will all work towards together. The poem I'm about to share conveys some of the most horrific tragedies that we have seen this year, but it ends with a message of hope and a vision for the future. It's a little vague, but I think we all care about those same things, and we all want to fight for them. And everyone, young or old, rich or poor, has a role in creating this better future, and I think it's important we recognize our own privileges that we carry or that we don't carry, and that we use those privileges to speak for the people who are being silenced currently. When all the people come together and stand against injustice, I think we're unstoppable. So thank you. I hope you enjoy the poem and have a great night.
When you face down the barrel of a gun, you don't freeze, you run for your life. And that's what it cost her too. And when you wear a bunny hat to preschool, your biggest fear should be whether your friends think it's cool. Not feeling your life and rights disappear, too young to fully understand the fear, as strange men held this 5-year-old by his Spider-Man backpack. Yet the government is spreading its lies. Trump called them the worst of the worst. Remember, in 1984, the party's most final command was to reject the evidence of your ears and eyes. So blame it on the libs who you despise. I'm sure the Star-Spangled Banner will drown out their cries. And cover their mouths in the name of peace, and fight in wars to make them cease, and send in the guard to save the city. Send thoughts and prayers to those you pity. Kill mothers to save their child, and drill oil to tame the wild. But here's what they don't want you to know. From the cracks in the concrete, a flower grows, its face always tilted to the sun, for the dream of a brighter future is something that can never be taken away, no matter what their propaganda tries to say. You can tell the sun not to rise, the fire not to burn, the waves to not crash, but they will crash all the same, echoing every name of those you have beaten and battered and broken, their stories aching to be spoken. The waves are relentless as they pound the shore, and where one flower grows, there will always be more. When an ice-cold wind tries to put out our spark, it will only burn brighter until there is no place left for the dark. And in the face of this force of nature, this revolution of human spirit dating back to Prometheus's stolen fire, to all the witches they burned on a pyre, carried on by those who rattled their chains, their blood-staining plantations, while their hearts harbored hope for change they would never get to see. For all of the children whose futures are at stake, and for the many lives you so heartlessly take, we will not yield and we will not break. Make no mistake. We will grow out of every crack in your hate-filled wall. We will rise from every city to join in this call, and we will not stop until you fall. And together we will carve a path through what they called a movable stone. For a single drop of water may be weak when alone, but the flood is unstoppable. And in the wake of this great reckoning, we will grow untamed and unafraid, victorious over the shade that would hide the colors and cultures that make America great. And we will strive to build a democracy better than anything we could have dreamed of before, seeking that sunlight and that far-off shore, so that no man or woman or child will ever have to fear for their life anymore.
Unfortunately, our last speaker is also a video, and it's a 17-minute video, so maybe it'll work, but let's see.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Emiliano Estrada, and today I'm going to talk about people of corn, the Milpa cycle. I'll start by telling you a little bit about me. I was born in Michoacan, Mexico, in a small rural town. I grew up raising chickens, around farm animals, taking care of plants, spent a lot of time with my grandparents and my great grandparents. My grandparents were conventional farmers, and my great grandparents practiced permaculture before it was called permaculture. My great grandfather was a seasonal worker who worked in California, and he also worked here in Oregon. So I'm passionate about growing food for people and being a farmer. I went to school in Mississippi State, got my degree in biological engineering with an emphasis in biosystems engineering. I conducted research on biomass gasification. The whole goal was to create carbon neutral solutions, creating renewable fuel or energy through sustainable forestry. But after graduating, I spent some time really thinking about what I wanted to do with my life, and I realized that there are better ways to manage the forest and make a difference in the world. Last year, my wife and I moved here to Hood River. Through the Future Farmers program, I was able to do my apprenticeship at Tamiyasu Orchard, where I learned so much from Ramona and Tom, who grow pears, apples, cherries, plums, apricots, berries, and all their fruit is organic and so yummy. So I was really grateful to be a part of their orchard, and I really fell in love with Hood River. So we decided to stay here and start our little farm here. Some of my favorite plants are succulents, and my favorite fruits are berries, and I also love cherries. But today, the main dish is corn, right? We're here to talk about corn. I love corn because it has such deep cultural significance to me and to so many Mesoamerican cultures. You can make so many yummy dishes with it. You can make tortillas, you can make tamales, atole, tejuino, pozole. It is something that is so great, and it was such a staple food for many Mesoamerican civilizations. To the Maya, who I am deeply inspired by, in the Popol Vuh, one of their sacred texts, Esmucane creates the first Maya people from the corn that the forest animals bring to her. They bring these corn seeds that she grinds on her metate and makes the masa to mold the first Maya people. Now, the significance of the animal forest bringing the seeds to Smukane showcases the interconnectedness of everything. If we want to have a successful milpa, if we want to have nourishing food that can support humanity, we must take care of everything, of the forest animals, of the forest, of everything, so that things can be in balance. The community to the Maya people not only meant the people, but also the plants and the animals. I'm going to talk a little bit about the three sisters, as most of us are familiar with them. We know that corn provides a natural trellis for the beans to climb on, and then the beans fix nitrogen into the soil, which feed the other plants. Squash provides a natural mulch and to keep weeds out and to also retain moisture. But today we're going to talk about something a little bit more complex, or going more into detail, the milpa cycle, which is something that the Maya people have been perfecting for 8,000 years. We go from forest to milpa, from milpa to forest, or forest garden or orchard, and then from orchard to forest, and then the cycle repeats itself. forest to milpa, milpa to orchard, orchard to forest, and then back again. And step one of the process of creating our milpa is all about using the sun, right? So we start with a controlled burn. These guys are masters at controlling the elements and things like fire, right? And this burning isn't about destroying the forest, but preparing the soil with nutrients. It's keeping they keep a lot of the tree stumps alive for the future. And for the first 4 years, the sun allows the three sisters to thrive, not just beans, corns, and squash, but it's a deeply managed polyculture. Instead of fighting the weeds, they used a select and grow approach, which means they keep some of the weeds that are beneficial to their milpa. Um, and deter pests, retain moisture that are edible. Moving on to the second stage. On the second stage, we go from field to orchard, and the focus shifts from annuals to perennials. We're not abandoning the field, but rather building an orchard on top of it. We're planting quick yielding trees like papaya alongside slower growing trees like avocado, but there is never a gap in food production. Moving on to stage 3, we go from orchard to forest garden. And in stage 3, the environment completely transforms. The fruit trees that we planted in stage 2 are now mature and casting a heavy shade canopy. Because of this shade, the annual corn is no longer viable, but the land is still incredibly productive. We shift our focus to harvesting the orchard and gathering from shade tolerant plants like palms and hidden among the fruit trees. We are quietly growing a long term investment of hardwoods like cedar and mahogany that will take over the final stage. What began as a sun drenched cornfield is now a towering hardwood forest meant for foraging and harvesting. The genius of the system is its continuity, right? When the farmer eventually harvests these valuable hardwoods for timber, the canopy opens up and the sun returns to the soil and the land is ready to be burned and planted with corn and the three sisters all over again. And just like I said earlier, the end is quite literally the beginning. The key to a successful milpa is to rely on extreme biodiversity, really work with what's already growing here and see what things you can implement in your milpa rather than fight them. Work with nature, not against it. Now, there's a huge controversy that mainstream archaeologists and paleontologists might say that this method of managing the forest is not sustainable, but recent research has proven otherwise, as we can see in the following pictures. They are highly skilled at managing the forest and keeping it alive. It is clearly sustainable as it is cyclical, and they are the ones that are shaping the Maya forests. As I'm sure they're also the indigenous people of the Amazon are shaping the Amazon forest as well. Now, a lot of people may say, well, another controversy is that, the milpa only feeds small, scattered villages, right? Well, Tikal is the ultimate proof that that is not true. At its peak, it supported 100K to 150K people. This proves the true potential of what the milpa can do, and when you manage your forest sustainably and work with nature, there you can create abundance for everyone. And these are some just recreations of what Tikal used to be. A lot of people think of the Maya people as savages, but they were engineers, they were astronomers, they were scientists, they were amazing people. It is important to remember that they have gone through a lot of suffering, and there's a big misconception that the Maya people vanish or disappear. And yet, if you go to Guatemala today, they are still very present there, still facing the greed of many corporations that are deforesting their land. And yeah, is that the Maya were not the only people that grew corn. There were the Purepecha, the Mexica, the Hopi people, and many more people. One of my favorite books is Native American Gardening Stories, Projects, and Recipes for Families. There is great examples of different garden setups and ways that you can plant your seeds. As we can see here, you create a mound and you do 4 corn seeds in the center, and then on the outer layer you do 4 of beans. And when you're creating your squash mounds, you plant 4 squash seeds 8 inches apart from each other. It's important to remember that the things that you are growing on the milpa can not only be used for food items, but can also be used to create corn dolls, bird houses from the gourds, and honestly, there is endless things that you can create with what you grow in your milpa if you really put your mind to it. I do want to share that my dream right now, I am working with this little green patch right here, but eventually I would like to lease all of that land that is retired orchard land and create a milpa cycle that is accustomed to Hood River in honor of Wais, to steward biodiversity, to grow food organically here for the people. I am passionate about people growing food for people, not corporations growing food for profit, because our food system it's concerning, and I want to empower people by teaching them how to grow their food and also making sure that there's abundance for everybody. Here are some of the plans that I'm working with this season. In 2 weeks and from now, well, maybe 3, in May, I'm gonna start planning. I got some starts inside my house already, but I'm doing chayotes, rue, epazote, some mold plants for pest control, scarlet emperor beans, kirarusha beans, sunflowers, nettles, Mexican tarragon, blue Oregon corn, pepe de rola beans, turkey crawl beans, painted mountain corn, sunfire corn, festivity sweet corn, pinwheel marigold, delicata zeppelin winter squash, green hover winter squash, and there's a lot more plants that I'm probably going to incorporate into it, but I want to make it highly diverse. Now, some cultura espiritual maya. I am an Aki in training, and as an Aki, my sole purpose is to serve the community. And like I said before, the community doesn't stop with people, but also animals and plants and the mountain, the clouds, the rivers. The water that we drink becomes our blood within minutes. The air that we breathe oxygenates our blood. We should definitely care about environment and how we take care of the things around us so that we live healthy, happy lives, and that future generations also can enjoy the creation of nature. I invite you to become involved. I hope that I can inspire you to become a farmer And a great way to get into farming is through woofing. There's a lot of woofing opportunities here in Hood River. You could Tamiyasu Orchards is doing taking woofers, and so is Peachwood Orchard. I'm currently working at Peachwood Orchard through the Oregon Farm Corps, and it's been quite awesome. Alma also grows corn, and she stewards her own varieties of heirloom corn, accustomed to Oregon, to here, and well, Hood River. So that is quite awesome. She has so much knowledge, and the Oregon Farm Corps program has been so amazing so far. I really highly encourage any of y'all who are thinking about farming, about participating in this program next year. Woofing also has a Future Farmers program that comes out in the summer. I think that they release you can start applying in December, but it starts in the summer. Another way to get involved locally is to go to the Rockford Grange. There is so much knowledge there as well. Great people, great farmers who have farmed here for a long time, and they are lovely people who are ready to teach the next generation. I don't know if y'all are aware, but right now a lot of farmers are retiring. So we definitely need younger people to step up and grow food for their communities in a way that is sustainable. I'm not from I'm not a local from Hood River, so I have to remind y'all of how special this place is. There's no place like the Gorge. So really what we have here is quite amazing, and we must take care of it. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, here's my email. And I also have a YouTube channel where I plan on creating more videos talking about farming techniques, preserving Mayan culture and spirituality, and inspiring the next generation of farmers, hopefully. So thank you for your time. I hope that you all have an amazing day today.
So on your program, I included Emiliano's email and YouTube channel, and he really is open to questions. So if you want to email him with questions, please feel free to do that. I'm just very struck by the combination of talks that we've had here today. Gillian was really looking towards future and technology. Bri speaking about her past and her heritage and what's important to keep alive for future generations. And Emiliano, I love that he's looking back to the way that his ancestors farmed sustainably and trying to do that here locally. And I'm really excited to follow him and see if he gets to lease more land and how this process could work here. So if you think about it, we have all of those elements, you know, we do controlled burns, we have farmland, we have orchards, we have forest. So it could really work, and it would be super exciting to see. Any other comments or questions to pass on? Yes.
Erica, we will try to order the book that he recommended, Native Gardens, and it'll be available in our bookstore if it's still in print and if we're able to get it. So give a call to the front desk in a week or two, and we'll see if we're able to access it.
Any other comments anybody wants to share? We do need it. It's inspiring to hear the hopeful ideas and visions of our young people. Zane, I was curious if you know more about, he's an Ajik in training. Are you familiar with that, or could you share?
I've done some spiritual practice with Emiliano, but he's new to the Gorge, he's new to some of these practices. I mean, he's been keeping sacred fire for a while, but part of his practice that he's really looking to offer the Gorge is having regular Maya seasonal fire ceremony and inviting people to his land and getting to, I mean, I don't know because I haven't joined, but he's been having small intimate gatherings. But he also has other modalities that he works with and does all kinds of healing therapies. I mean, it's such a shame that he's not here because Emiliano has such a presence. Yeah. He has the most beautiful eyes you've ever seen. I seriously, I can't even articulate, it's like the whole rainbow is enough. And yeah, he really just looks at every person like, you know, like they're their own universe. So he has such a heart-forward way that he moves in the world. So definitely reach out if you're curious about him. He's a wonderful person to be connected to, and he loves to share all of his practices he's connected with. And as he started as like a very, you know, STEM-forward engineer, math science person, and has had a big pivot toward a more holistic, spiritual, earth-based way of being in the world. So he's cool because he's got all kinds of pathways that he's connected to. So very well-rounded person. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I look forward to meeting him sometime, hopefully in the near future. So, thank you all so much for coming tonight. Thank you for your extreme patience with our technical difficulties. Safe travels home, and don't forget museum membership and fundraising, I guess.